Dogs are known for their unwavering loyalty and love towards their human companions. They are often considered to be man's best friend, and for good reason. However, there are times when the fates of these loyal creatures take a turn for the worse, leading to heartbreaking and emotional stories that tug at our heartstrings. From tales of abandonment and neglect to stories of selfless sacrifice and unconditional love, the top 10 saddest dog stories will leave you reaching for a box of tissues. These stories serve as a reminder of the deep emotional bond we share with our canine companions and the importance of treating them with the love and respect they deserve. On number 10 was Gobi the runner dog. Gobi was a stray dog living on the streets of China. She was small and scrappy, with matted fur and a friendly face that belied the harsh life that she had lived. One day, Gobi stumbled upon a group of runners who were participating in a race through the desert. Gobi took a liking to one of the runners, a man named Dion, and she began following him as he ran. To Dion's surprise, Gobi kept pace with him throughout the entire race. She ran beside him through the heat and the sand, never once faltering or showing signs of exhaustion. Dion was amazed by Gobi's tenacity and her loyalty. He felt a deep connection with the little dog, and he knew that he had to do something to help her. After the race was over, Dion made arrangements to bring Gobi back to his home in Scotland. He had fallen in love with the dog, and he couldn't bear the thought of leaving her behind. But the journey to Scotland was fraught with difficulties. Gobi had to undergo a series of medical tests and vaccinations, and she had to endure a long quarantine period. Despite their best efforts, Gobi's health began to deteriorate. She developed a serious infection that required emergency surgery, and she struggled to recover from the trauma of her ordeal. In the end, Gobi passed away, leaving Dion heartbroken and devastated. He had hoped to give her a better life, but instead, he had watched helplessly as she suffered and ultimately succumbed to her illness. Gobi's story is a sad reminder of the harsh realities that many stray dogs face. It is a testament to the power of love and loyalty, but also to the fragility of life and the pain of loss. Dion will always remember Gobi as a brave and wonderful companion, and her memory will live on as a symbol of hope and resilience. Number 9 is Daisy the Beagle. Daisy the Beagle was born into a life of captivity. She had been bred specifically for animal testing, and from the moment she was born, her fate had been sealed. Daisy spent her entire life in a small cage, with no room to move or explore. She was subjected to countless experiments, enduring pain and suffering in the name of science. Despite the cruelty that she faced, Daisy remained sweet and gentle. She never lost her trust in humans, even when they caused her pain. One day, a group of animal rights activists managed to infiltrate the laboratory where Daisy was being held. They saw the deplorable conditions in which she was living and vowed to rescue her. After weeks of planning, the activists managed to sneak Daisy out of the lab and take her to a sanctuary where she could live out the rest of her days in peace. But the damage had already been done. Daisy's body was riddled with scars and wounds from the experiments she had endured. She was in constant pain, and no amount of love or care could ease her suffering. Despite the best efforts of the sanctuary staff, Daisy's health continued to decline. She was suffering from multiple organ failure, the result of the years of abuse and neglect that she had endured. In the end, Daisy passed away, surrounded by the people who had fought to give her a chance at a better life. She had never known true freedom, but in death, she was finally released from her suffering. Daisy's story is a tragic reminder of the cruelty that animals face at the hands of humans. It is a call to action to fight against animal testing and to work towards a world where animals are treated with kindness and respect. On the 8th spot was Hooch, the French Mastiff. Hooch was a French Mastiff who had been rescued from an abusive owner. He had endured terrible mistreatment and neglect, and as a result, he was a very fearful and timid dog. Despite his trauma, Hooch was given a second chance when he was adopted by a police officer named Johnson. Johnson saw something special in Hooch, and he knew that with the right training and care, the dog could become an excellent police dog. Johnson worked tirelessly with Hooch, trying to gain the dog's trust and help him overcome his fearfulness. At first, Hooch was extremely timid and would often cower in fear at even the slightest noise or movement. But over time, Hooch began to blossom under Johnson's care. He became more confident and sure of himself, and Johnson was proud of the progress that they had made. However, tragedy struck one day when Hooch was called to help apprehend a dangerous criminal. The criminal was armed and had taken a hostage, and Hooch's job was to track him down and help bring him to justice. Despite his best efforts, Hooch was no match for the criminal's weapon. In a moment of desperation, the criminal fired at Hooch, hitting him in the chest. Johnson rushed to Hooch's side, but it was too late. Hooch had been mortally wounded, and he was bleeding out on the ground. Johnson was devastated. He had put so much time and effort into training Hooch, and he had come to love the dog like his own child. Now, Hooch was gone, and Johnson was left with a deep sense of loss and regret. Hooch's death was a tragic reminder of the dangers that police dogs face every day. It was a harsh reminder of the trauma that many animals endure at the hands of abusive owners. But it was also a testament to the resilience and bravery of animals like Hooch, who put themselves in harm's way to protect their human partners and keep our communities safe. While Xander, the bomb-sniffing dog, in on number 7. Xander was a brave and loyal bomb-sniffing dog serving in Iraq with his handler, Private First Class Rodriguez. They had been through many dangerous missions together, but they trusted each other completely and always had each other's backs. One day, while searching for explosives in a busy marketplace, tragedy struck. A suicide bomber detonated his explosives, killing Rodriguez instantly and injuring Xander severely. Xander was rushed to a nearby veterinary clinic, where the medical team worked tirelessly to save his life. He had suffered multiple injuries, including severe burns and shrapnel wounds. But despite the odds, Xander pulled through, showing the same courage and determination that had made him a valuable asset to the military. However, the loss of his beloved handler had taken a toll on Xander. He had formed a deep bond with Rodriguez, and the shock and trauma of his sudden death had left him confused and anxious. He struggled to adjust to life without his friend and partner, and his once lively and enthusiastic personality had become subdued and distant. Xander was eventually transferred to a new handler, but the bond he had shared with Rodriguez was irreplaceable. He would often become skittish and anxious, barking and growling at shadows and unfamiliar faces. His new handler tried his best to help him adjust, but it was clear that Xander had been deeply affected by the loss of his friend. As time went on, Xander's condition worsened. He began to suffer from recurring nightmares and flashbacks, reliving the traumatic events of that fateful day. His handlers did everything they could to help him, but nothing seemed to ease his pain and fear. Finally, it became clear that Xander could no longer serve in the military. He was retired and sent home to live out the rest of his days with a loving family. But the memories of his time in Iraq continued to haunt him, and the loss of his beloved handler remained a painful wound that never fully healed. Xander had given his all in service to his country, but the cost had been great. His bravery and loyalty would never be forgotten, but the toll of war on both human and animal alike was a heartbreaking reminder of the true cost of conflict. Number 6 was Stubby the Bull Terrier. Stubby was a small and scrappy mixed-breed dog living on the streets of New Haven, Connecticut when he was discovered by a group of soldiers training for World War I. Despite his humble beginnings, Stubby had a unique talent that soon earned him a special place in the hearts of his new human companions. During his time with the soldiers, Stubby learned how to salute, march in formation, and even identify the sound of incoming artillery shells. He quickly became a beloved member of the unit and accompanied his new friends to the battlefields of Europe. It was during one such battle that Stubby's bravery and quick thinking earned him the official title of mascot for the 102nd Infantry Regiment. However, tragedy struck when the unit was ambushed by enemy soldiers. In the chaos of the battle, Stubby was separated from his human companions. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no sign of Stubby. His human friends searched for him tirelessly, but to no avail. Finally, they had to accept that he was gone, and their hearts were heavy with grief. Months later, the war ended, and the soldiers returned home. They were welcomed as heroes, but they couldn't help feeling that something was missing. Stubby had been more than just a dog to them, he was a symbol of hope and courage in the face of adversity. It wasn't until years later that a soldier who had been captured by the enemy during the war revealed the fate of Stubby. He had been taken by the enemy soldiers and used for target practice, a cruel and heartless end for such a brave and loyal companion. The news devastated Stubby's former human companions, who could only imagine the fear and pain that he must have suffered in his final moments. They honored his memory by creating memorials and tributes in his honor, but the pain of his loss never truly went away. Stubby may have been just a dog, but he had touched the hearts of so many, and his absence was felt deeply by all who had known him. Before we continue on the 5th spot, please click the like button and subscribe for more amazing videos. Number 5 on our list is Bobby, the Wonder Dog. Bobby the Wonder Dog was a beloved Scottish collie who lived in the early 20th century in the town of Silverton, Oregon in the United States. His story is a tragic one of survival and sacrifice, and has become a legend in the Pacific Northwest. In 1923, Bobby was traveling with his owners, the Brazier family, when their car broke down near the town of Pendleton, Oregon, about 300 miles from their home in Silverton. The family couldn't afford to have the car repaired, so they decided to take a train home and leave Bobby behind, hoping that someone in the area would take care of him. Despite their best intentions, Bobby was left to fend for himself in an unfamiliar and dangerous environment. The loyal dog, however, refused to abandon his family and embarked on a journey that would become known as one of the most incredible feats of animal survival in history. For 6 months, Bobby navigated his way through rugged terrain, crossing rivers, mountains, and forests, enduring extreme weather conditions and facing dangerous predators. He survived by hunting small game and scavenging for food in garbage dumps and farms. Finally, after 6 months of wandering, Bobby arrived in Silverton, exhausted and emaciated, but alive. His incredible journey captured the hearts of the town's residents, and he became a local hero. Bobby's story, however, did not have a happy ending. The long journey had taken a toll on his health, and he died a few years later at the age of 6. The town of Silverton mourned the loss of their beloved hero, and erected a statue in his honor, which still stands today. Bobby's story is a testament to the incredible resilience and loyalty of animals, and his memory has become a symbol of hope and inspiration for many who face difficult and challenging circumstances. While Fido, the loyal dog, is on number 4. Fido was a loyal and loving dog who lived in the small town of Borgo San Lorenzo in Italy during World War II. His owner, Carlo Soriani, was a bricklayer who was called up to fight in the war, leaving Fido behind to look after the family and their home. Despite the dangers of war, Fido remained devoted to his family and continued to wait patiently for Carlo's return. Every day, he would wait for hours at the train station, hoping to see his owner step off one of the trains that arrived. Months turned into years, and the war raged on. Carlo's family had lost hope that he would ever return, but Fido never gave up. He became a familiar sight at the train station, greeting passengers and eagerly searching for his owner. Then one day, to the amazement of everyone who knew Fido, Carlo stepped off a train and into the waiting embrace of his faithful dog. Fido's tail wagged furiously as he jumped up to greet Carlo, overjoyed that his long wait was finally over. But their reunion was short-lived. Just a few days later, Fido was tragically killed by a bomb that fell near the Soriani home. The family was devastated, and the loss of Fido was a painful reminder of the harsh realities of war. Today, a bronze statue of Fido stands in the town square of Borgo San Lorenzo, a testament to his unwavering loyalty and devotion to his family. His story has become a symbol of the love and sacrifice that animals can show, even in the darkest of times. On the 3rd spot is Greyfriars Bobby the Guarding Dog. Greyfriars Bobby was a Skye Terrier who lived in 19th century Edinburgh, Scotland. His story is a sad one of devotion and loyalty. Bobby was the pet of John Gray, a local policeman, who died in 1858. After Gray's death, Bobby refused to leave his owner's side and instead spent the next 14 years sleeping on his grave in Greyfriars Kirkyard. He became a local celebrity and was admired for his unwavering loyalty. Despite attempts to remove him from the cemetery and place him in a new home, Bobby always returned to his master's grave. He became a symbol of loyalty and devotion, with many people visiting the cemetery just to catch a glimpse of him. Sadly, Bobby's life came to an end in 1872 when he died of old age. He was buried not far from his master's grave, and a statue was erected in his honor, which still stands today. While Bobby's story has a happy ending in that he is still remembered and celebrated to this day, his life was a lonely one spent mostly in a graveyard, mourning his deceased owner. His story is a reminder of the deep bond that can exist between pets and their owners and the enduring impact that loyalty and devotion can have on people's lives. On number 2 is Hachiko, the faithful dog. Hachiko was a faithful and devoted Akita dog who lived in Japan with his owner, a professor at Tokyo's Imperial University. Every day, Hachiko would accompany his owner to the Shibuya train station and wait for him to return from work. This routine continued for years, and Hachiko became a well-known fixture at the station. However, in 1925, tragedy struck when the professor suffered a heart attack and passed away while at work. The professor's family adopted another dog, but Hachiko continued to go to the station every day, waiting for his owner's return. Despite being unaware of the professor's passing, Hachiko never gave up hope and continued his routine for the next 9 years, even during the harshest weather conditions. Hachiko's devotion to his owner did not go unnoticed. Passers-by, commuters, and station workers noticed the dog's unwavering loyalty and began to leave food and water for him. Hachiko even gained a following of admirers, who would stop by to visit and play with him. Hachiko's loyalty and devotion touched the hearts of many people in Japan and beyond. He became a symbol of loyalty and love, inspiring books, movies, and songs about his remarkable story. In 1934, a year before his death, Hachiko was even invited to attend a ceremony at the train station, where he was honored for his loyalty. After Hachiko's passing, a bronze statue of him was erected at Shibuya Station to honor his loyalty and devotion. The statue continues to be a popular tourist attraction, and visitors from all over the world come to pay tribute to this remarkable dog. Hachiko's story serves as a reminder of the unbreakable bond between humans and their furry companions and the power of loyalty, love, and devotion. Even decades after his passing, Hachiko's story continues to inspire and touch the hearts of people around the world. And the number 1 on our list and the saddest story is Laika the space dog. Laika's story is undoubtedly a tragic one. She was a stray dog taken from the streets of Moscow and subjected to rigorous training in preparation for a mission to space. She was confined in a small capsule for extended periods, exposed to loud noises, vibrations, and other stressors to condition her for the flight. On November 3, 1957, Laika was launched aboard Sputnik 2. Despite her training, the spacecraft malfunctioned, and Laika died just a few hours after launch due to overheating caused by a faulty thermal control system. The Soviets initially reported that Laika had survived for several days in space before dying painlessly, but it was later revealed that her death was much more traumatic. It was also discovered that the Soviets had not made any attempt to bring Laika back to Earth, meaning that her death was an inevitable part of the mission's design. Laika's story caused outrage among animal welfare activists around the world, who criticized the Soviet Union for using animals in cruel and inhumane experiments. The legacy of Laika's sacrifice lives on as a poignant reminder of the ethical issues surrounding animal testing and the sacrifices that are sometimes made in the name of scientific progress. The 10 saddest dog stories are a testament to the incredible loyalty, resilience, and love that dogs offer to their owners. These stories are heartbreaking, yet they remind us of the importance of treating our furry friends with kindness and respect. From Hachiko's unwavering devotion to his owner, to Laika's tragic journey to space, to the forgotten war dogs of Vietnam, each story represents a unique and powerful bond between humans and dogs. Despite the sadness and tragedy in these stories, they offer hope and inspiration for those who continue to love and cherish their dogs. The memories of these dogs will continue to live on, reminding us of the power of the human-animal bond and the importance of treating all animals with compassion and care. Did you enjoy it? Subscribe to Izinus TV for more amazing videos. You can also watch our episode that you can see on your screen. Thanks for watching and see you again on our next video.